think I've got it in an okay position. Oh God, this is not a video I would want to be filming in anyone's position. Like, this is hard. No one has actually requested this. This is a video that I want to do for myself. And I know when it happened to me, it helped to be able to see what other people went through as well. And you do find yourself searching, and you find yourself looking for answers, even though sometimes there isn't and sometimes there is. You do find yourself searching. So I think this time is the right time for me, because of the big gap. I've had a break. Well, not a break from videos, but a break. Well, I did, but I've started them back up again a bit. But a break from everything that went on. I've just kind of had to help build myself back up again. God, this is really hard. So as I said, I would do this video just for awareness and to help people. Like other people's videos helped me. Ignore my hair and ignore that I got no makeup on. I didn't want to put makeup on and then start crying, because there was just no point. But yeah, on June the 7th of this year, I had to deliver my baby girl at 20 weeks on one day. So it's basically going to be my story of my little girl and what happened, what I went through. And yeah. So everything went fine. I found out I was pregnant on the 26th of February. Had my 12-week scan. At 11 weeks and 2 days, I had a pretty bad bleed. And obviously we thought that was a miscarriage then. I thought I was losing her. I had to get an ambulance up to a different hospital, and they did an early scan. Well, it wasn't like a proper scan machine. It was just to check there was a heartbeat. They did like a cervix check, and they could see that my cervix were closed. They had nothing to worry about really. So that was, well, they didn't know, but that was like how they reassure you that there's nothing to worry about. So after that, the next day, the morning, after the cervix check, they took us to this scan room, and they said they're not very good. They're mainly for like stuff like kidneys and like to check you haven't got kidney stones. But you could see the baby's heartbeat flickering, so we knew everything was okay. We didn't really get an explanation for the bleed. They put it down to maybe slight infection, or some people you can have it all the way through and you can bleed all the way through a pregnancy, and then that's what happens. So yeah, we had our 12-week scan. She was fine. Well, obviously we didn't know she was a she, but the baby was fine. I measured 12 weeks and 1 day at my 12-week scan, and I was meant to be due the 24th of October. So after that, everything was okay. I was suffering with a lot of back pain, just your usual stuff like ligament stretching, because obviously she was my first pregnancy. You have to read up about it. You don't really know. You're just going off your own thing. So I was alright. At 16 weeks, I booked a private scan to find out the gender. We went to Windows to the Womb, it's called. There's quite a few all around the world. So we went to quite a few. We went there, and then we did a gender scan, but she wouldn't show a gender. obviously we know she was a girl now, but she wouldn't show her gender, so we had to go out, in and out, jump up and down, fizzy drinks, sweets, and she still wouldn't, so they sent us home and we had to rebook for a Monday at 16 weeks and 4 days. So at 16 weeks and 4 days we went back and they got a glimpse, and obviously we popped the balloon at the windows of the womb place, and that revealed that it was a girl. And I called her Madison, and her name was Madison Olivia, and then obviously my partner's last name. And everything was fine. Really, I'd got all prepared. I'd got the pushchair, Moses basket, clothes, nappies, wipes, everything mostly. Obviously, they say it's bad luck to have the pushchair here, so we had it at his nan, my partner's nan's. I was planning to move in because I still live with my mum and my sister. So I was planning to move in, and yeah. So after that had happened, after we found out the gender, we had the name already. We obviously at 12 weeks we had announced to friends, family, Facebook, social media, everyone that knew us knew. You don't think anything of it. You think you got the positive and you're pregnant. Yeah. So after finding out the gender, we brought girls' clothes, blankets. Her pushchair was pink. It was the Mother Care Journey one in light pink. Everything was. People were knitting her cardies and blankets and crocheting her like quilt like ones for the pushchair. And then the week of the week I became 19 weeks, I started to get, it wasn't like blood, but like light pink. Like they said it was because they put it down to, I went to the doctors on the Monday and they put it down to like, oh, you've got a slight infection. They call them UTI infections, and they're common in pregnancy. But before I was pregnant, I used to suffer with them, not a lot, but like I was getting them a little bit. And then when you're pregnant, you can get on more. So they just put it down to that. I got my tablets on the Monday. And then by the Wednesday, it was getting worse. I had the pink blood. I thought would have gone by now. It was like more in my urine. It wasn't coming from like, it wasn't like proper red blood or any clots or nothing like that. It was just like, they were saying, oh, it's your infection, it'll go. You've got to let your tablets kick in. You've got them for a week. I was calling up MUA and 111, my midwife, and they're all saying the same thing. Oh, you've been the doctors, you're on antibiotics, you've got to let them kick in. So basically, everyone, you listen to the professionals, you got to let them kick in. So I did that, and then I was at my partner's. I was just near enough coming up to finishing college, but obviously because they knew, they were like giving me more leeway, so I was doing more work at home because my sickness was really bad. So I was stopping at my boyfriend's more because we live about half an hour away. So I was stopping at his, and then the Wednesday, I got the train back from my partner's to. Was he at work the Thursday? I think, yeah. So, and did I get it back the Thursday? No, I got the train back Thursday, not Wednesday. And then came back, and because I had to work Friday, so I was saying to my sister, I'm going to try and call the doctors again because I don't feel very well. No one's listening. I still don't want to go in with this blood. Well, it's not blood, it was like light pink blood, but obviously it's still there. And she was like, ring your doctors, and then it won't go through. So I was like, I'll go, or I'll ring in sick if I feel any worse. So it was the Friday I was off. I don't think I had work the Friday. I had work the Saturday, but the Friday I had an English exam. my second English GCSE exam, so I had to retake at college. So, and obviously Friday was the 7th of June. So the Thursday, I got back from the train station. I was saying to my partner, I don't feel very well. His mum rang when I was at the train station. Oh, you'll be okay if you're taking your tablets. People can bleed throughout pregnancy. If it's not bad, then you just listen to the professionals. So that's what I did. Didn't listen to anyone. Went home because obviously I lived back with my mum. Well, I lived with my mum at the time of this all happening, and then what did I do after that? Had something to eat, I think, and then went for a bath. I thought a bath might help. It might help me relax. It might make me feel a bit more human because I just felt tired and worn out. I was obviously 20 weeks that day. The 6th of June, I turned 20 weeks. So I was like, oh, it's really just pregnancy. It's just probably pregnancy. And obviously, with being my first, I didn't really know what to expect movement-wise. And I'd had a few odd, wiggles, but not kicks, not fully kicks. And that was about it. Nothing much. But they say you don't feel anything with your first that much anyway. And you don't feel much at 20 weeks. So I went for my bath, and then I said to my sister, I'll probably be back for dinner, or if you don't hear from me, I'll probably have something to eat with my friends. So I think she made pasta. Did she make something? And then it got to about 6 or 7 o'clock, and I started getting pains in my stomach and my back, and I just couldn't get comfortable. I was on her bed, and I was rocking back and forwards, and I was saying I'm gonna have to go home in a bit because my back. And she was like, okay. And so we finished off what we were watching, and I went over to my sister, and I was saying, I'm really in so much pain. And she was like, just see how you go, take your tablets. So I did, and then while I was at my friend's, I rang 111 again. And there's loads of questions, and they say if your tablets ain't kicked in, then you're just going to have to wait and see if they start to work. But by this point, they were going to run out on Saturday, so it was getting worse. It wasn't getting better, but no one seemed to listen to me. So I went back over, and then I rang MAU, and then that was the midwife. So I rang her, and she 3 times that day I rang her, and she was like, use your tablets. It would be a waste of a journey. And then I rang her again, and it's a different person spoke to me. She was like, you've already rang. If it gets any worse, ring up, but we don't think you need to come up. It's going to be a waste. And then it got to 10. I think it got to would it get about 11:30, 12? I think my partner had said that he's tired, he was going to sleep. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to go to sleep myself soon. Obviously telling him about the pain. I told him that I'd been in the pain. I'm going to try and get some sleep myself. Our hospital where I lived shut at 10 or A&E, so there was no chance of going up there, and the maternity bit wasn't that good. It wasn't good. It was just if your pregnancy was all planned and perfect, but if you had any, when I was obviously 11 weeks, I had that bleed. It's like if you have anything like that in your pregnancy, they send you to a hospital that's half an hour away. So I could not sleep. I was in so much pain. I was on all fours, like what you see when people are in contractions. And obviously, they were telling me that it was because they were just getting worse. I had my beanie, it's like a hot water bottle. And I was on my sister's room on the floor, and I was like. So my sister's never had any kids. The one that lives with me, she searched up what the contractions looked like. So I was getting worried because obviously she'd searched that up. So I thought it was just because of my infection, but then I knew something was wrong. So she was like, we're going to have to get a taxi. No, I rang the hospital again, and they said, well, we're not going to send an ambulance. There's probably going to be a waste of journey, but we'll probably send you home with some codeine, which is like a strong painkiller. So I was like, that's going to be better than nothing, and at least I'll get checked over, the baby will be checked over, and I'll know everything's okay. So me and my sister went up there. in a taxi. I had to literally hover on the seat. It was hurting. I was like getting pressure, and my belly was hurting. My back was hurting. I was breathing in and funny. And then I got to the hospital. Half an hour it took. Got to the hospital, and the first thing they told me to do was wee, and I couldn't wee. I knew something was wrong. I could not wee. It felt like tight. Like, oh, it's horrible. I was just crying. I was in so much pain. I was in my knees on one of their hospital chairs. I couldn't sit, so I was on my knees. And then she was like, "We'll go and check your baby's heartbeat." So we went into the room, and she had like the Doppler, and she was looking for the baby's heartbeat. And she started like making conversation, but like, what's that scarf? And I've got my belly pierced in the past, but I took it out. And she was like, and then she was like asking about making conversation, like short conversation. And she was like, I'm struggling to find the heartbeat with this, but it's probably because of how baby's lying or the machine. She was like, I'm only a midwife, I'll go and get a doctor. So she took about 10-15 minutes to come back in. It was so long. So long. It felt like ages, and I was in so much pain. So she came back in, and she brought this other doctor. She's like, I'm a doctor, I'm gonna see if I can find it on the screen. So she came in and she was like, I'm a doctor, I'll see if I can find it on the scan machine. But then just bear in mind, they're not the best machines, they take ages to. And she was just going on rambling about if she can't, then it's probably the machine, nothing to worry about. And then she was looking, and you could see obviously Madison on the screen, but they couldn't see the heartbeat flickering, and they were saying, "No, it's probably the way she's lying," and you could see her. And they were going, "No, it's probably the way she's lying. There's nothing to worry about." And then they went and got another doctor, because she said, "I'm not that good either. I'll get a higher up doctor than me." It took another about 10 minutes, and then came back in, and he wasn't that nice. He wasn't that nice. He was asking questions that didn't need to be asked, like, was it a planned pregnancy, and stuff that just didn't seem necessary at the time. So he was like scanning, and he was like, the machines ain't that good, and he was like, I can't find it either, but we're gonna bring you back tomorrow in the morning, or you can stay over and then we'll bring you back tomorrow. But then the other doctor that couldn't find it and then got him, she was still in the room, and she went, I'm not happy with that. I don't want her to go home. And they like all kind of like disappeared, and then came back in, and she was like, we're gonna do a cervix check. It's like, okay, I've already had one of them, so okay, if it's gonna help. And then when obviously I went to wee, I'd noticed the bleeding had got more red. It wasn't pink anymore, it was red. And I'd told them this, and they did the cervix check. This is hard. I see my sister had come with me. My partner lived half an hour away, so I hadn't had time to call him. And most of my other family with cars, that's why we had to get a taxi. We were on holiday. Oh. So when doing the cervix check, the midwife that did the Doppler but couldn't find the heartbeat, she was there as well with the doctor, and she did the cervix, and it's like the little thing where, I don't know what they're called, but they open you up, like, just have a look, and normally they're going like feel, but obviously if they can see, they can see. But at this point, she did that, and she was like, I'm sorry to say, but you're miscarriaging. So I didn't really know what to do. I just started crying and screaming. I remember screaming because I was in so much pain. But then when she said that, I didn't know what to do. Like, my whole body just went numb. And like, I just wanted it to be a dream. My ears went all muffled. Like I didn't know if I could understand what she was saying. And then my sister was crying. And I just wanted my mum. I remember saying, I just want my mum. And I didn't know what to do. And then the midwife was holding my hand, and then she was like, I'm sorry. And I just kept saying, okay, it's okay. I didn't know what to do. It felt like a nightmare. At this time it was probably about 11:30, half 1 in the morning. So I tried to get a hold of Andrew, which is my partner. And it was just going straight to voice message, so I thought it was the hospital signal. So I got my sister to call him, but it didn't go through either, and they said she could use the phone on the desk. So she went to the desk, and that wouldn't go through either, so then I knew his obviously phone was off or battery had died. But it obviously said he'd gone to sleep. Yeah. So she rang my mum, and because, well, I think she rang my stepdad, and they were all, like, my sister, the kids, my brother, his girlfriend, they were all away, like, only to, like, a caravan site in Wales. And she rang them and told them, and they were all upset and crying and asking how I was. At that point, I don't remember, but it was like a haze, because it was going so quick. The midwife was coming at me with loads of drugs then when she knew what was happening. And an injection in this leg, I was put on a drip. She put some antibiotics into me. I don't know what they were for, but she put some of those into my hand. And then she was like, do you want this tablet? Do you want this tablet? And at that point, I just said yes to everything. But obviously I wanted my partner there, because everyone knows what's going to happen next. So I couldn't get a hold of my partner, so I tried his mum. She didn't answer. I tried her a couple of times, and then I tried his nan, which only lives on the corner from him. So I tried his nan, and she didn't answer. So I remembered that his friend's got a key, and if his phone's died, he needs something to get in, really, because he wasn't going to get up. He's a really heavy sleeper, so I thought he's going to need someone with a key. So I remembered he said, like, it's not his friend, it's like a family friend, but like also works for him, kind of boss. So I remember him saying he'd got a key, and I had him on Facebook, so, oh God. So I rang him, and he answered the first time, and I don't think he even could understand me, because I couldn't breathe. And I was going, you need to go and get Andrew, I'm miscarriaging. And he was amazing, because he put his girlfriend on while he was getting dressed. And she was like, we're going to go and get him. So I was like, okay. And I just kept saying, okay. I don't think I knew what else to say. I just kept saying, okay. So then they took me down to the maternity, but not to the maternity where, like, all the other babies are. It's like their own separate bit for, like, stillbirths and late-term miscarriages. So I was put in a room, and Andrew's stepdad brought him down. Did he bring a bag? I think he did. No, he didn't. But then, obviously, afterwards, they brought a bag for him. So we went to the hospital, and I think he broke down. I don't think he knew what to do. It's really hard, because males think they need to stay strong. Oh, God. He was amazing. I don't really know where time went. I think he got there about 2:30, 3. So not long after, considering he'd just been woken up. And they kept dosing me up on tablets, and they gave me gas and air. And then, I think at about 6 o'clock, my mum, my sister, my stepdad and my brothers and sisters' dad. Did my niece come as well? No, she came. Did she come down after? I think she come down after. My other sister wanted to leave because obviously she'd been with me all the time. And it's hard. It's hard. Every new person you see. I remember seeing my mum and not knowing what to say. No one knows what to say. Because what do you say? There isn't much you can say. But all my family were there. So they all came in. And then time just goes quick. I don't think I slept, but I probably did. I can't remember. I don't think I slept in between it. But I can't remember. I don't think I did. It was just basically a waiting game. I remember Mum coming in and saying, "Can't you put her to sleep?" And they were like, "No, it has to be as natural as possible." The midwives sat down that bit were lovely. I had some lovely midwives. So anyways, I don't really know what happened from like 6. Then I remember it becoming 9. And I remember people being in and out and not knowing what to do. Cause nothing had happened. My contractions had stopped. And all the pain had stopped, really. I was on so much medication, it was probably from that. But it all stopped. So I remember looking up at the clock and it was 9 o'clock in the morning. And this midwife, she was lovely. Her name was Lauren. She came in and she was like, "Do you want to try?" And I was like, "Okay." So I only wanted my mum and my partner in the room. So she was like to the others, "Can you wait outside?" And then she was like, "You need to bear down." And obviously because my contractions were gone, but they could see her. So in my head, I was thinking, if I leave it any longer, it's just gonna make it worse. But then in my other side, I was thinking, if I do it, then she's gone. So like, it was horrible having to decide when I wanted to have a try and push. So I remember having my partner this side and my mum this side, holding both their hands, and I was just screaming. Oh God. And then she told me to push. She told me to bear down into my bottom. She was like, just push and bear down. So I did that. And it was horrible. Like, I felt like a pop. And that was like, for the first bit, she was like, "You need to do one big push." And I did one big push and it was horrible. She was like, "It's the best situation that could have happened." Obviously, because no situation is nice. But because she came out in a sack, I didn't need DNC or anything. She came out in her sack. So I said, they take them away, and obviously detach from the placenta and cut the cord. They don't do it in the room because obviously you're crying and you don't. I'll obviously bring her straight back, but it's like on a cold bed because obviously some can be alive, but her heart had already stopped, so she wasn't alive. So when I will bring her back in. Whew. And they brought her back in her little basket. There's like a little tiny like doll's Moses basket. She was only tiny because obviously I was 20 weeks on one day. She was tiny. She wasn't very big, and I don't know why, but she was big, but not as big, not big for 20 weeks in one day. So they put her on a cold bed, and that's all plugged in. You get to like hold her in a little blanket and take pictures and look at her, and you get as long as you want, really. It was like a daze. It didn't seem real. So after that, everyone came in to have a look at her. Obviously, everyone's crying. It's meant to be a happy time, but it's not. So they're all looking at her and just taking photos. Then they do like a lovely little box, and they do photos of her and her wristbands. Well, they make 2 up. What else? She had quite a bit. They give you like a little angel, a little candle. She had a teddy. And it was hardest time of my life. I won't. It shouldn't happen to anyone. It shouldn't really. It was horrible. But after that, they say maximum 2 days, but yeah, obviously you could stay longer than that. I don't think they'd kick you out. But the midwives were lovely. I was like, don't put it up on everything. I had like my liquid antibiotics in this hand. I had like fluids in this hand. I was still getting injections after having her. They took 14 sets of blood to see if anything was wrong. It's like 14 different things, and you can have a post-mortem. I chose not to because I didn't want her messed with. At the time, I didn't want anyone touching her, so I just said no, but I'll have the placenta results. We're still waiting for them, and it's a long time, really. It happened in June, so we're still waiting. Apparently there's a delay. And they talk about the funeral and what you can do. But then I only stayed one night. That day, we had I'm not religious, but I thought the blessing would be nice. It was alright. It's not me, but some family members and Andrew's family are a little bit religious, so I thought it'd be a little nice thing for them. But I only stayed the one night. I didn't stay the 2 because I thought if I don't leave, I never want to leave. If I don't leave her now, I'm just never gonna want to go. So, yeah. The hardest bit was having to say goodbye. I had to get all the things. And you don't leave with a baby. It's not how you plan. It's not how you plan. I remember having her box, a memory box in a bag, and her teddy. And I remember holding her teddy out. I had to say goodbye. But she knows how much she was loved. Me and Andrew sat there and cried for about 10 minutes, and then everyone else came back in. I said, "Are you ready?" And then I don't think if we didn't leave, I don't think I would have wanted to leave. So I was like, yeah. I had to walk out, and the midwife, the same one, she walked us down because she said you don't want to go through the delivery bit. So she was like, I'll walk you down. The bit where the midwives can go, so you just take straight to the car park. And I remember her taking me to the side and she said, "You don't have to stay strong." She said, "You can cry." She said, "You're staying strong for everyone." She said, "You cry if you need to cry." I found it really hard. I didn't know how I felt. I wanted to scream, but you get anger and you get crying, and then you go through all the motions. It's horrible. Oh God. She was like, "You cry if you want." And I just remember going home in the car. Obviously, it's a half an hour journey. Just in my head, I just thinking, what next? After that happening, you've gone from planning a baby and planning a life to what next? I didn't know what next. You plan. I was planning for my little girl. And everything changes again. Oh God. My nose is red. I was thinking we were going to my mum's. Andrew was going to stop with me. It was hard because all my stuff was boxed, ready to move, because I wasn't meant to be moving. Like, we were meant to be moving to live with my partner to raise our family, and all Madison's stuff was in my room, boxed as well. And then, so my mum said, "I'll change my bed and you sleep in my bed, so you don't have to look at your stuff at the minute. You don't have to look at her stuff." And I remember sitting in the dining room on Saturday, and my sister was in there. I just remember looking at her, and she was like, "People don't know what to say." And I just remember crying. I just was like, what do people say? Oh. But yeah, they arranged her funeral. It was like 2 weeks after. I think it was the 26th of June. This is not it's about 2 weeks, just over. And that was lovely. We let off some balloons. She was only 20 weeks and 1 day. She doesn't actually get like a proper birth certificate or grave, but they do the little funeral service, and we got her ashes put into which is inside her teddy, and we've got some in like a little pouch, and I've had her a plaque done at the baby garden where I'm gonna be buried when I eventually go to heaven. So I'm gonna you get to bury them, and they do like a little service there, and I haven't done that yet. Her plaque's only just been done like this month, because it takes a while to have the writing done and put on the wall. But it was hard, really hard. It took a long time to get to where I am. I still have my good and my bad days, and it's going to be hard. But I know she won't want me to give up. She gave loads of signs that she's around. But yeah, that's my story. If you have any questions or you need to talk to me about if you've had it happen to you, I'm always here. So hopefully my next video is more cheery. But thank you for watching. Bye.